What if I told you that a car just landed that makes the Mercedes S-Class feel ordinary, makes the BMW 7 Series feel outdated, and makes every American luxury automaker rethink their entire strategy? And it didn't come from Germany, it didn't come from Detroit, and it definitely didn't come from Silicon Valley. Because the 2027 BYD Denza Z9 just arrived, and brother, nothing in this segment will ever be the same again. Welcome back to Auto Elite World. I'm glad you're here today because this one is genuinely one of the most important videos we've ever put out on this channel. We are talking about a vehicle that is sending shockwaves through every boardroom in Stuttgart, Munich, and beyond. If you've been sleeping on what China is building right now in the ultra-luxury EV space, today is your wake-up call. And trust me, you do not want to scroll past this one. So let's talk about why this vehicle is getting the kind of attention that most manufacturers spend decades trying to earn. The Denza Z9 isn't just another electric sedan. It isn't BYD trying to play catch-up. This is a full frontal assault on the global luxury market, backed by one of the most vertically integrated automotive companies on the planet. BYD makes its own batteries, its own chips, its own electric motors. And that level of control over the supply chain means they can do things that traditional luxury brands simply cannot afford to do at this price point. The automotive world has been watching China's EV revolution from a comfortable distance for years now, but the Denza Z9 is the moment that distance disappears entirely. This isn't a warning shot, this is the shot landing. Now let's get into the design because this car demands to be seen. The 2027 Denza Z9 carries a silhouette that is equal parts aggression and elegance, which is genuinely one of the hardest balancing acts in automotive design to pull off. The front fascia is expected to feature a near-seamless light bar stretching the full width of the hood, giving it that unmistakable face-forward presence that luxury buyers in this market crave. The roofline flows in a long, sweeping arc that drops gracefully toward the rear. Not a hard fastback, not a traditional three-box sedan, but something that exists beautifully in between. The body sculpting along the flanks is reportedly deep and intentional, with character lines that catch sunlight in a way that makes the car look like it's moving even when it's standing still. The flush door handles, the frameless windows, the low ride height. Everything about the exterior communicates that BYD's design team wasn't here to make friends. They were here to make a statement. And from every angle, the Denza Z9 looks like exactly that. Step inside, and this is where things get truly extraordinary. The interior of the Denza Z9 is anticipated to be a masterclass in what happens when you stop thinking about luxury as an add-on and start treating it as the actual foundation of the vehicle. We're talking about a cabin architecture that reportedly draws inspiration from private aviation and high-end yacht interiors. And you can feel that DNA in every surface and every material choice. The expected seating configuration places priority on rear seat passengers in a way that puts this car squarely in chauffeur-driven territory, with anticipated reclining rear seats that could rival first-class flight comfort. The materials are expected to include sustainably sourced premium leathers, open-pore wood veneers with real texture and depth, and brushed metallic accents that feel substantial rather than decorative. Ambient lighting is reportedly customizable across a wide spectrum, turning the cabin into an environment rather than just a space. The headliner is expected to feature acoustic materials that make road noise and wind noise essentially disappear at highway speeds. When you close the door on the Denza Z9, it's expected to feel like the rest of the world simply ceases to exist. Now let's talk technology, because this is where BYD doesn't just compete. This is where they potentially lap the field. The Denza Z9 is anticipated to run on an in-house developed operating system that integrates vehicle controls, infotainment, driver assistance, and even smart home connectivity into a unified, seamless experience. The primary display is expected to be a large curved screen that spans much of the dashboard. But what makes it different from the sea of giant touchscreens we've seen before is the integration of physical haptic feedback zones that eliminate the need to take your eyes off the road for critical inputs. The rear cabin is reportedly expected to feature its own independent entertainment and communication system, with screens embedded into the seatbacks and a separate climate control interface that lets rear passengers dial in their environment independently. Voice recognition, gesture control, and face recognition for driver personalization are all anticipated features. And here's what should make every competitor genuinely nervous. BYD is expected to push over-the-air software updates that can add new features, refine performance characteristics, and improve driver assistance capabilities long after the car leaves the showroom. This isn't just a car, it's a platform. Let's get into what's under the hood, or more accurately, what's sitting beneath the floor. The 2027 Denza Z9 is expected to utilize BYD's next-generation blade battery technology in a configuration that could deliver a targeted range of over 700 kilometers on a single charge under Chinese testing standards, which, when translated to real-world American highway driving conditions, is anticipated to still be exceptionally competitive against anything in this class. The drivetrain is expected to come in multiple configurations, with the top-spec all-wheel drive variant reportedly capable of producing somewhere in the range of 1,100 combined horsepower across its triple-motor setup. That number needs a moment to sink in. 1,100 horsepower in a luxury sedan with a 700-kilometer battery range. The estimated 0 to 60 time on that top-spec variant is anticipated to fall somewhere under 3 seconds, which means this car doesn't just carry you in luxury, it catapults you in it. Charging is expected to be compatible with ultra-fast DC infrastructure, with anticipated peak charging speeds that could add hundreds of miles of range in under 20 minutes. And now, the driving experience, because specs on paper only tell half the story. Based on everything we know about BYD's platform engineering and the early impressions circulating from markets where the Z9 has already been presented, this is a car that is anticipated to do something truly difficult. Feel genuinely sporty when you want it to, and genuinely serene when you don't. The adaptive air suspension system is expected to read road surface conditions in real time and make thousands of micro adjustments per second, keeping the body attitude flat through corners while simultaneously absorbing imperfections with the kind of smoothness you expect from a cloud. The steering is reportedly tuned to provide real feedback, not the numb, isolated experience of some luxury EVs, so the driver actually feels connected to the road beneath them. The regenerative braking system is anticipated to be sophisticated enough that most drivers could complete their entire commute using only one-pedal driving without it ever feeling abrupt or unnatural. This is a car that is expected to feel different depending on what you need from it in that exact moment. And that kind of dynamic intelligence is genuinely rare at any price point. Safety. This is where the Denza Z9 is expected to set a new benchmark that the entire industry will have to respond to. BYD is anticipated to equip the Z9 with a full suite of next-generation driver assistance technologies built around a sensor array that includes high-resolution cameras, forward and rear-facing radar, ultrasonic sensors, and what is reportedly a roof-mounted LiDAR unit on higher trim levels. The highway driving assistance system is expected to handle lane centering, adaptive cruise, and automatic lane changes with a level of smoothness and confidence that approaches true hands-free operation. Automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, rear cross-traffic alert, and a 360-degree surround view camera system with overhead perspective are all anticipated as standard equipment. BYD is also expected to integrate a driver monitoring system that tracks eye movement and head position to detect fatigue or distraction, intervening proactively before a situation becomes dangerous. The structural engineering of the platform is reportedly designed to meet and exceed the most stringent global crash safety standards. Because in this segment, safety isn't a feature, it's a promise. Pricing is where this conversation gets genuinely fascinating, and frankly, a little uncomfortable for the establishment. The Denza Z9 is anticipated to enter markets at a price point that significantly undercuts its European rivals while offering a comparable or superior feature set. Early market positioning suggests a starting price that could fall in the range that places it well below the Mercedes EQS, the BMW i7, and the Audi e-tron GT in equivalent trim levels. For American luxury buyers who have been paying premium prices for premium German badges, The value proposition here is expected to be jarring in the best possible way. Now, official U.S. market pricing and availability has not been confirmed, and there are regulatory and tariff considerations that could influence final American market numbers. But the intent is clear. BYD is coming after the top of the market, and they're bringing a price-to-performance ratio that nobody in this class can currently match. Which brings us to the competition, because this comparison is the one that every automotive journalist and every luxury car buyer needs to think carefully about. Against the Mercedes EQS, the Denza Z9 is anticipated to offer a more driver-focused experience while losing nothing in rear seat comfort. Against the BMW i7, it's expected to deliver more raw performance and a more cutting-edge technology suite. Against the Lucid Air, the American EV that came closest to cracking the ultra-luxury code. The Z9 reportedly offers a broader feature set and a more comprehensive rear passenger experience, while still being expected to compete closely on range. And against the Rolls-Royce Spectre, which lives in a completely different pricing stratosphere, the Z9 raises a question that a lot of people are going to find uncomfortable. Exactly how much of that price difference is the badge, and how much of it is the actual car? That is a question the market will answer, and the answer is coming faster than most people realize. So what makes the Denza Z9 genuinely specifically special, beyond the specs, beyond the price, beyond the competition? It's this. The Z9 represents the moment when China stopped building cars that were good enough and started building cars that were genuinely better. This is a vehicle that didn't arrive as an imitation of something else. It arrived as an original. The design DNA is distinctly its own. The technology platform is proprietary and deeply integrated. The battery system is in-house. The motors are in-house. The software is in-house. In an industry where most luxury brands are piecing together components from global supplier networks, BYD built this thing from the ground up with a singular vision. And you can feel that coherence in everything, from the way the door closes to the way the navigation anticipates your next turn. The Denza Z9 doesn't feel assembled. It feels designed, and that distinction matters more than most people realize. So here's the final verdict, and I'm going to be straight with you the way I always am on this channel. The 2027 BYD Denza Z9 is expected to be one of the most significant luxury vehicles of this decade. Full stop. It challenges every assumption the established luxury market has made about where great cars come from. It pushes the boundaries of what an electric powertrain can deliver in terms of range, performance, and refinement. It redefines what a luxury interior means in the age of connected technology. And it does all of this at a price point that is going to force every competitor to look hard in the mirror. Is it a perfect car? No vehicle is. There will be questions about long-term reliability, about brand perception in the American market, about the impact of regulatory environments on pricing and availability. These are legitimate conversations. But when you step back and look at the total picture, the engineering, the design, the technology, the value, the Denza Z9 isn't just a great car for the money. It is by every objective measure a great car. Period. The luxury EV world changed the day this vehicle was revealed, and the reverberations of that change are going to be felt for years to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest automotive innovations, make sure to subscribe to Auto Elite World, turn on notifications, and let us know in the comments what you think about this vehicle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.